A morning that could change everything. There's a moment every morning that many people rush through without thinking. You open your eyes, you reach for the covers. And then, maybe you grab your phone, glance at the clock, or head to the bathroom half awake. But what if I told you that those first few minutes, the space between sleep and full wakefulness, hold one of the most powerful secrets to aging well? And I don't mean aging without wrinkles, I mean aging with your balance intact, your mind sharp, your heart strong, and your freedom preserved. This video and this guide is not about chasing youth. It's about protecting what matters most as we grow older. It's about the little things, habits that take only minutes but can profoundly influence how you feel, move, and think for the rest of the day and the rest of your life. Why this matters for seniors. According to the National Institute on Aging, more than 1 in 3 Americans over 65 will experience a serious fall. Many more live with high blood pressure, memory, decline, joint pain, or low energy and write it off as just aging. But what the latest research from Harvard Health Publishing, Mayo Clinic, and the Cleveland Clinic is revealing is that how you start your day after 65 can dramatically affect your chances of avoiding these challenges or falling into them. This isn't theory. This is a growing body of medical evidence from some of the most trusted geriatric researchers in the world. And the best part, it doesn't require fancy equipment. It doesn't cost money. It doesn't even require more than 5-10 minutes of your time. It just requires understanding and a willingness to try. Treated yo a chapter morning habit. 1 warm lemon water, the lifeline. Hidden in simplicity. Let's begin where the day begins, hydration. If you're like most people, you wake up in the morning and do one of 2 things. You grab a cup of coffee, or you skip anything altogether until breakfast or mid-morning. But here's the hidden problem with that. Overnight, while you sleep peacefully, your body quietly loses nearly 16 to 20 ounces of water through your breath, skin, and kidneys. You don't feel yourself sweating. You don't notice the vapor leaving your body with every breath. But by the time you open your eyes in the morning, your blood has become thicker, your cells are slightly dehydrated, and your liver, the organ responsible for clearing toxins, is working with less fuel than it needs. This is especially dangerous for adults over 65. Yeah, what does dehydration do to older bodies? According to Mayo Clinic, senior health, mild dehydration in older adults can increase the risk of falls, cause confusion and brain fog, elevate morning blood pressure, reduce circulation to the heart and brain, contribute to urinary tract infections, lead to constipation or reduced nutrient absorption. That's why replenishing fluids quickly after waking is one of the most overlooked medical recommendations in geriatric care. But not just with any liquid. Warm water plus lemon is a time-tested, scientifically supported way to jumpstart multiple systems in the body. Why warm water works better than cold? Let's break this down. Warm water at body temperature or slightly warmer has been shown to relax and open up blood vessels, reducing resistance in the cardiovascular system, stimulate bowel movement and gentle digestion, help flush metabolic waste accumulated overnight, support detoxification, which is especially important for those on multiple medications. Polypharmacy is common after 65. When your blood vessels open up, your heart doesn't have to work as hard. And that's important because the first 2 hours after waking up are the most dangerous window for heart attacks and strokes, especially for older adults with hypertension or heart disease. According to Cleveland Clinic, the body's circadian rhythm makes mornings a high-risk time for cardiovascular events. what about the lemon? Adding lemon isn't just for taste. A quarter wedge of fresh lemon contains vitamin C, supports immune function, protects cells from damage. Potassium, helps regulate blood pressure and reduce water retention. Citrus polyphenols, compounds that stimulate collagen production, reduce inflammation, and protect vascular health. Digestive enzymes, that help stimulate bile production and improve nutrient absorption. Lemon also helps alkalize the body, even though it tastes acidic, an effect that can reduce inflammation over time, according to research published in Harvard Health Publishing. The collagen connection, why this matters for seniors. As we age, we produce less collagen, a protein that supports joint flexibility, skin elasticity, blood vessel strength, bone integrity. Citrus fruits like lemon have been shown to stimulate natural collagen production via their vitamin C and antioxidant content. So that simple wedge of lemon in your warm water, it's not just refreshing, it's feeding your connective tissue, skin, joints, and vascular system from the inside out. Real-life story. Mary Thompson. Age 72, Asheville, NC. Let's meet Mary. She's 72 years old, a retired school teacher, a grandmother of 4. 2 years ago, Mary suffered a minor stroke. She recovered physically, but emotionally she was shaken. Her cardiologist urged her to cut back on coffee and add more hydration. That's when she discovered the warm lemon water habit. Within 3 weeks of doing it every morning, her digestion improved. Her hands felt less stiff. She noticed her thinking became clearer. At her next checkup, her blood pressure had stabilized. Her doctor smiled and said, "Keep doing whatever you're doing, Mary." And she did. To this day, she says, "That glass of lemon water feels like a fresh start. It's small, but it matters." The circulation reset. 1 minute that could save you from a fall. After age 65, getting out of bed becomes more than just a daily routine. It becomes a medical event, one that many seniors navigate without knowing the hidden dangers that lie in that very first minute of standing. Let's be clear, the act of going from lying down to upright after a night's sleep is one of the most vulnerable transitions for older adults. And the reason isn't just getting older, it's a physiological shift in blood flow balance and brain oxygenation that science now understands far more deeply than ever before. According to Johns Hopkins Medicine and the National Institute on Aging, standing up too quickly in the morning, especially without a preparatory movement routine, can lead to sudden dizziness or lightheadedness, blood pressure drops known as orthostatic hypotension, poor balance and lack of orientation, dangerous falls and related injuries, loss of mobility, confidence. And sadly, for many older adults, one fall is all it takes to trigger a long-term loss of independence. But that fall, that dizziness, that moment of uncertainty, it's not inevitable. It's preventable. And it starts with one simple 60-second circulation reset right after you sit up in bed before you even take your first steps. Let's break it down. What happens to your circulation? While you sleep. During the 6 to 8 hours you spend lying flat at night, your circulatory system shifts. Your blood flow slows, your muscles go still. Your venous return. The flow of blood back to the heart from the lower body decreases, especially in the legs and feet. In younger adults, this may not matter much. But in older adults with stiffer arteries, reduced cardiac output, or age-related vascular changes, the body becomes less efficient at redirecting blood to the brain the moment you stand. The result: your brain doesn't get enough oxygen quickly. You feel unsteady. You may grab a wall or countertop if you're lucky. If you're not, you fall. That's why the American Geriatric Society recommends preparing your body for vertical movement every morning with gentle, intentional muscle contractions that support your vascular system. This is where the concept of muscle pumping comes in. The muscle pump mechanism. Why it matters. Your legs, especially your calves, aren't just there for walking. They're also circulatory assistants. Every time your calf muscles contract, they squeeze the veins in your legs and push blood upward against gravity toward your heart and brain. This process is known as the skeletal muscle pump, and it's one of the most essential systems for preventing fainting, lightheadedness, and stroke risk in the elderly. Without it, blood pools in the lower extremities, oxygen delivery lags, cognitive clarity fades, and standing becomes dangerous. But the solution is beautifully simple. The circulation wake-up routine. 1 minute of intention. Here's what I teach my patients and what leading geriatric experts recommend. 1. Start by sitting at the edge of your bed, feet flat on the ground, hands resting on your knees. Take a slow, deep breath in through your nose, expanding your belly. Exhale through your mouth. 2. Stand slowly with feet shoulder-width apart. Gently raise both arms overhead as you inhale deeply. 3. Lower your arms slowly as you exhale. Feel your shoulders relax. 4. Roll your shoulders backward 5 times, then roll them forward 5 times. Go slowly with control. 5. Now lift your heels off the ground. Hold for 1 second. Lower gently. Repeat this movement 10 times. This routine takes about 1 minute, but what it does inside your body is powerful. It activates your muscle pump, restores circulation to the brain, increases blood oxygen delivery, rebalances your nervous system from sleep mode to awake and steady, and it gives your vestibular system, the system in your inner ear, that helps you balance time to orient itself gradually instead of being shocked by sudden motion. This isn't exercise. It's preparation. It's medicine in the form of movement. And for seniors with a history of dizziness or low blood pressure, it can be the difference between a normal day and a visit to the emergency room. Why morning falls are so common and so preventable falls are not just accidents. In many cases, they're physiological failures caused by the body not having enough time or help to transition from sleep to motion. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention (CDC), 1 in 4 Americans over 65 falls each year. 1 in 5 of those falls causes a serious injury such as a broken hip or head trauma. And most of those falls happen in the morning, often in the bathroom, hallway, or kitchen. But studies from the National Council on Aging show that even minimal movement sequences done consistently reduce fall risk by up to 44% in older adults. That's a stunning number. And it should be a wake-up call, because if you can lower your risk of injury by nearly half with just 60 seconds of intentional motion, why wouldn't you? A real story. James Carter, age 74, Boise, Idaho. James never thought of himself as old. He'd worked construction for over 40 years, walked every day, ate well. But one morning he stood up too fast and collapsed in his bathroom, hitting his shoulder on the sink, breaking 2 ribs. His blood pressure had dropped. He blacked out. After a short hospital stay, he worked with a geriatric physical therapist who introduced him to this very circulation reset routine. He's done it every morning since. No more dizziness, no more instability, no more fear. As James told his doctor on his last visit, "I don't start my day by accident anymore. I started on purpose." That's the mindset we want for you too. Purpose, prevention, strength, and it starts with 1 quiet minute each morning. The science of movement as medicine research from Harvard Health confirms that gentle morning movement not only prevents falls, it also improves mental clarity, boosts circulation to the brain, lowers inflammation markers, enhances lymphatic drainage, stabilizes the autonomic nervous system which governs blood pressure and heart rate. This isn't just feel-good advice, it's hard data, and it's being used in senior wellness programs across the country from retirement communities in Florida to VA hospitals in California. When done daily, this habit becomes more than a precaution. It becomes a source of confidence. You stand taller, you move with clarity, and most importantly, you feel in control of your body again. The protein principle, fueling your muscles before they disappear. You've probably heard the old saying, you are what you eat, but if you're over 65, that's no longer the full truth. A more accurate version would be, you are what you eat and when you eat it, especially when it comes to protein. Let's begin with a simple, sobering fact. After age 50, your body begins to lose muscle mass at a rate of about 1 to 2% per year. That may not sound like much, but over time, that gradual loss adds up and becomes something known as sarcopenia. What is sarcopenia? Sarcopenia is the age-related loss of muscle mass strength and function. According to the National Institute on Aging, it affects nearly 50% of adults over the age of 80, but it begins quietly as early as your 50s or 60s. You may not notice it at first. You might just feel a little weaker when climbing stairs. You might find it harder to carry groceries. Or you notice that your balance isn't quite what it used to be. But here's the danger. Left unchecked, sarcopenia leads to increased fall risk, slower metabolism, poor blood sugar regulation, weakness and frailty, reduced independence. And while exercise plays a vital role in slowing muscle loss, one of the most overlooked strategies is something you already do every day: eating breakfast, but more specifically, eating protein at breakfast. Yeah, why timing matters. The 30-minute rule research published by the National Institute on Aging and echoed by Harvard Medical School shows that eating protein within the first 30 minutes of waking up can dramatically improve muscle retention in older adults. Why? Because your body undergoes a process overnight called catabolism. That's a fancy word for what happens when your body during fasting begins to break down muscle tissue for energy. Yes, your body will burn fat during fasting hours, but it also breaks down lean muscle if you don't refuel fast enough upon waking. That's why skipping breakfast or delaying protein intake can be especially harmful for older adults. Your body is already in a state of depletion when you open your eyes. What you do in the next 30 minutes sends a clear signal. Are we rebuilding today or continuing to break down? What kind of protein works best for seniors? Not all protein is created equal. Older adults need high-quality, complete proteins, those that contain all 9 essential amino acids. According to Mayo Clinic, Senior Health and Cleveland Clinic Geriatrics, the best options for morning protein include eggs, especially egg whites, plus 1 whole egg, Greek yogurt plain, full-fat or low-fat, cottage cheese, whey protein isolate or plant-based protein powders, soft tofu or edamame for vegetarians, nuts and seeds as a complement, not primary source. Aim for 25-30 grams of protein within the first 30-45 minutes of your day. That's enough too. Stimulate muscle protein synthesis, prevent muscle wasting, improve blood sugar stability, enhance cognitive alertness, support bone health. Yes, protein matters for bones too. A real story. Carla Rodriguez, 69, Santa Fe, NM. Carla used to start her mornings with a piece of toast and a cup of tea. It was quick, simple, and comforting, but by mid-morning she felt shaky. By early afternoon, she needed a nap. And by evening, her posture slumped and her legs felt weak. Her doctor recommended she change one thing: start eating protein within 30 minutes of waking. She switched to a whey protein smoothie made with almond milk, spinach, and a scoop of vanilla isolate alongside 2 boiled eggs. Within 3 weeks, the change was obvious. She felt stable, energized, and perhaps most importantly, capable. As Carla put it, I stopped feeling like I was falling behind before the day even began. That's the power of intentional nourishment. What if you don't feel hungry in the morning? Many older adults say, "I just don't feel like eating early." That's normal. As we age, our hunger cues shift, especially if we've gone years without eating breakfast. But according to Harvard Health Publishing, it's not about appetite, it's about training your body to expect and respond to fuel at the right time. Here are some gentle strategies. Start with a protein-rich shake or smoothie if solids feel too heavy. Eat a smaller dinner the night before to naturally increase morning appetite. Add flavor or temperature variety. Warm scrambled eggs with fresh herbs or chilled yogurt with berries. Sip bone broth or protein-enhanced drinks if solid food doesn't appeal immediately. Within 10-14 days, your body will begin to adapt. You'll wake up hungry, and that's a good sign. It means your metabolism is working, your hormones are responding, and your muscles are ready to rebuild. The hidden benefits of morning protein. This habit goes beyond muscles. The National Council on Aging and Everyday Health, Senior Health have linked early day protein consumption to improved mood and reduction in depressive symptoms, better sleep quality later that night, stronger immune response, enhanced medication absorption when taken with food, reduction in sugar cravings later in the day, greater cognitive clarity throughout the morning, and for older adults, managing prediabetes. Type 2 diabetes or insulin resistance. Early protein helps stabilize glucose and improve insulin sensitivity, protecting long-term organ function and energy regulation. In short, protein in the morning isn't just a habit, it's a defense strategy. And in the war against aging, it's one of your best weapons. The 90-second joint wake-up. Protecting your knees, hips, and balance. If you've ever woken up and felt stiff, like your joints were made of cement, like your knees, hips, or back just didn't want to cooperate for the first hour of your day, you're not alone, and you're not broken. You're simply experiencing something that happens to most people as they get older, and it's called overnight joint stiffening. Let's talk about what's happening inside your body when you first rise, and more importantly, what you can do to stop that stiffness from turning into something much worse. Why are joints so stiff in the morning? During sleep, your body is in a state of repair, but it's also in a state of stillness. And while stillness allows your brain and muscles to rest, it creates a problem for your joints, especially those in your knees, spine, and hips. That's because your joints are surrounded by a fluid called synovial fluid. This fluid acts like motor oil, lubricating, cushioning, and protecting your joints as you move. But here's what most people don't know. According to Mayo Clinic and Harvard Health Publishing, synovial fluid thickens when you're inactive. It becomes viscous, more like honey than water. That means when you first wake up, your joints are less lubricated, more vulnerable to friction, and slower to respond. This is especially true for people with osteoarthritis, previous injuries, or long-term joint degeneration. And left unaddressed, that stiffness can lead to pain during movement, reduced range of motion, poor posture, balance issues, increased risk of falls, wear and tear damage over time. But the good news, there's a way to warm your joints naturally, safely, and effectively, and it takes less than 2 minutes. Joint mobility, the 90-second morning routine. This isn't stretching, it's not yoga, and it's not exercise in the traditional sense. This is about priming your joints, gently activating the surrounding muscles, tissues, and fluids so that you can move with ease, not resistance. Here's the mobility sequence I teach my older adult patients based on the guidelines from Cleveland Clinic and the National Council on Aging 1. Sit on the edge of your bed, feet flat. Slowly rotate your right ankle in a circle 10 times clockwise, 10 times counterclockwise. Repeat with the left ankle. 2. Next, gently rotate each knee. Keep your feet flat and make slow circular movements with each knee. 3. Stand up and hold on to a counter or the back of a sturdy chair. Shift your weight gently from side to side. Feel the movement in your hips. 4. Twist your upper torso slowly left, then right. Let your shoulders guide you, keeping your movements controlled. 5. Finish by rolling your shoulders back, breathing deeply. Do 5 slow shoulder rolls. Then reverse. That's it. You've just warmed your ankles, knees, hips, spine, and shoulders. You've lubricated your joints, activated your proprioceptors, which help with balance, and told your brain, we're ready to move. Why this works. The medical science behind mobility. Multiple studies published in Harvard Health and supported by AARP's Senior Planet Initiative have shown that consistent joint mobility routines reduce inflammation, improve circulation to joint tissues, decrease morning pain and tightness, lower risk of developing degenerative joint disease, improve overall range of motion, posture, and daily function. In fact, just 90 seconds of mobility each morning has been linked to 28% lower fall risk in seniors with a history of joint stiffness, 34% greater ease in basic movement like bending, reaching, or dressing, improved mood and energy levels due to the release of endorphins from movement. It's a high-impact return on a tiny investment. Real-life story. Barbara Ellis, 76, Spokane, WA. Barbara used to call her mornings the daily struggle. Her back hurt, her knees felt locked, and she dreaded standing up, fearing she'd lose her balance in the kitchen or shower. Her daughter introduced her to a short mobility sequence, starting with ankle rolls, then shoulder rolls, then side bends. At first, Barbara scoffed, "I'm too old to play ballerina." But 3 days in, she noticed something. She wasn't bracing herself to stand. She wasn't reaching for the cane near the bed. She began walking to the front porch each morning, something she hadn't done in over a year. After 2 weeks, she said, "I didn't just stop hurting. I started moving with confidence again." That's what mobility does. It's not about age, it's about adaptation. Mobility versus flexibility. What's the difference? Let's clarify something important. Flexibility is the ability of your muscles to lengthen. Mobility is the ability of your joints to move smoothly and safely through a full range of motion. Most seniors don't need to touch their toes or do the splits, but you do need to be able to turn your neck while driving, bend your knees to pick something up, rotate your shoulders to reach a cupboard, twist your hips to get in and out of the car. That's why joint mobility is more functional and protective than traditional stretching alone. And it's why physical therapists, geriatric doctors, and healthy aging researchers across the country now recommend short mobility sequences as a daily essential for older adults. Your joints are asking for one thing each morning: preparation. So tomorrow morning, before you brush your teeth, before you make coffee, before you pick up the newspaper, give your joints what they need. Not a pill, not a supplement, not a pain reliever. Just movement. Thoughtful, gentle, intentional movement. It's how you prevent friction. It's how you preserve balance. And it's how you protect one of your greatest assets in life: your independence. The reverse recall ritual. 1 minute to wake up your brain. After 60, many people start to notice small, unsettling changes. You walk into a room and forget why. You forget where you put your keys. You hear a familiar name, and it just doesn't come to you. These little slips often feel harmless at first, but over time they add up. They can trigger worry, anxiety, and even shame. But here's something most people don't realize. These lapses aren't always signs of dementia or Alzheimer's. More often, they're signs that your brain, like your muscles and joints, is simply not being activated the right way in the morning. Let me be clear. Memory isn't just about what you can recall. It's about how frequently you use the pathways in your brain that manage memory, attention, and verbal clarity. And just like your knees get stiff if you don't move them, your brain gets foggy if you don't warm it up. This is why geriatric neurologists, memory care centers, and senior health advocates increasingly recommend something called the reverse recall ritual. What is reverse recall? It's a simple habit that takes just 1 minute. Here's how it works. 1. Sit comfortably, preferably after your hydration, circulation, and joint mobility routine. 2. Take a deep breath. Close your eyes. 3. Begin mentally walking backward through your last 24 hours. Start with the most recent thing you remember, perhaps brushing your teeth last night. Then recall what you were doing an hour before that, what you had for dinner, who you spoke to, what you watched or read. Keep working backward through the afternoon, morning, and early part of the day. You don't need to get every detail perfect. You just need to try. You saw why it works. Activating the hippocampus reverse recall specifically stimulates the hippocampus, the part of the brain responsible for memory formation and retrieval, spatial navigation, emotional regulation, cognitive clarity. According to research from the Stanford Center for Brain Longevity, this kind of mental rehearsal builds new neural connections, strengthens old ones, and even stimulates the release of a brain growth protein called BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor. BDNF is like fertilizer for the brain. It promotes neurogenesis, the growth of new neurons. It helps maintain the health of synapses, the connectors between brain cells. And it's directly associated with slower cognitive decline even in adults over 80. In fact, adults who practice daily recall tasks, even for just 1 minute, score higher in tests of verbal fluency, short-term memory, mental alertness, emotional resilience, and the benefits compound over time, just like regular walking strengthens your heart. Good morning is the best time to practice. You might wonder, why do this right after I wake up? Here's why. After you've hydrated, moved, and eaten protein, your brain is primed. It's receiving more oxygen. Your blood glucose is stable. Your nervous system is alert but not stressed. That is the perfect window to introduce a light cognitive challenge, one that reinforces memory without creating anxiety. Unlike puzzles, math problems, or digital apps, reverse recall uses your real life as the subject. No learning curve, no screen time, no pressure. Just memory strengthening through storytelling, your own story. Real life story. Eugene Miller, 71, Fort Collins, Colorado. Eugene was an avid reader, a crossword puzzle lover, and a retired history professor. But around age 70, he started noticing gaps. He'd forget conversations mid-sentence, lose track of why he entered a room, miss appointments even though he swore he'd remembered them earlier. At first, he blamed stress, but he couldn't shake the feeling that something was slipping. That's when a friend told him about reverse recall. Skeptical but desperate, Eugene began doing it every morning after breakfast in his favorite chair with a cup of green tea. He'd close his eyes and rewind his previous day like a movie. 3 weeks later, something clicked. He remembered names during conversations. He felt sharper while reading, and most importantly, he felt confident again. In his words, "I didn't feel like my brain was disappearing anymore. I felt like it was waking up." Karibu, how to make this a daily habit. Start simple. Do it at the same time and in the same spot every morning. Make it part of your existing routine after water, mobility, and protein. Set a gentle timer for 1 or 2 minutes. Speak it aloud if it helps. Journal a few key memories afterward if you enjoy writing, and remember it's okay to forget details. That's not failure. That's your brain stretching, learning, healing. What more than memory? The ripple effects of morning recall. Memory isn't isolated. When your brain feels engaged and focused, it sends positive signals to your entire nervous system. The result: lower morning anxiety, more emotional resilience throughout the day, better sleep quality at night, reduced inflammation markers, improved interpersonal communication, greater sense of self-awareness and purpose. That last one is crucial because many older adults feel like they're losing a part of themselves as they age. Reverse recall reminds you that you're still present, still active, still building something meaningful, even if it's just remembering what you did yesterday. You note from the research. According to the National Institute on Aging, cognitive decline is not a guaranteed outcome of aging. In fact, your brain remains capable of plasticity, the ability to change and adapt well into your 80s and 90s. But it requires fuel, it requires oxygen, it requires use, and that's what the reverse recall ritual delivers. Let's put it all together. By this point, you've learned 5 powerful medically backed morning habits that take less than 10 minutes combined. 1. Warm lemon water. 2. Circulation reset. 3. Early protein intake. 4. Joint mobility routine. 5. Reverse memory recall. Each of these habits targets a different system in your body: cardiovascular, muscular, skeletal, and neurological. But together they form a unified strategy for staying strong, steady, and sharp after 65, not just in theory, but in daily lived practice. And it begins tomorrow morning. Final reflections. 5 simple habits. 1 powerful future. So now let's take a step back. You've just explored the 5 quiet, powerful habits that could change how you feel, how you move, and how you live starting tomorrow morning. These aren't theories, they're not fads, and they're not reserved for health fanatics or celebrities. They're for people like you. People who have lived full, beautiful, and sometimes difficult lives. People who want to keep living well, not just longer, but stronger, clearer, and more in control. Let's review the core formula. The Golden 5-Minute Morning System. Step 1. Hydration with warm lemon water. Rehydrates every cell, flushes toxins, supports your liver, brain, and circulation. Step 2. Gentle circulation activation. Reduces dizziness, restores blood flow to your brain, prevents dangerous falls in the first hour after waking. Step 3. Protein. Within 30 minutes, halts muscle breakdown, fuels your metabolism, supports bone strength, mood, and immune function. Step 4. Joint mobility sequence. 90 seconds lubricates your knees, hips, spine, and shoulders, prevents stiffness and arthritis progression, lowers fall and injury risk dramatically. Step 5. Reverse recall ritual. Stimulates memory, activates brain growth proteins, improves clarity, mood, and emotional stability. Each habit is designed to address a specific system of aging. Together, they form a protective strategy, one that helps preserve your independence, your ability to move confidently, your memory and mental sharpness, your resilience in the face of daily stress, your long-term health span, not just lifespan. And the best part, they cost nothing. They require no equipment. They happen in your home on your terms. All they ask is your intention and 5 to 10 minutes of your morning. What the experts say. Let's reinforce what you've learned with insights from trusted sources. AARP's Senior Planet emphasizes that successful aging isn't about doing more. It's about doing what matters consistently. Mayo Clinic states that falls, fractures, and cardiovascular events are not just random risks. They're often physiological responses to dehydration, circulation changes, or joint neglect. The National Council on Aging reports that mobility routines, when paired with early nutrition and mental engagement, extend independent living by years. Harvard Health Publishing reminds us that habit stacking, attaching one new habit to an existing one, is the easiest way to create permanent change. You don't have to remember everything from today, but if you remember this, how you begin your day after 65 shapes the rest of it and protects your future. That alone could be life-changing. Bonus tips to make it stick. 1. Lay it out the night before. Place your lemon and glass next to the kettle. Set your chair where you'll sit and recall your memories. 2. Use prompts. Stick a note on your mirror. Move, fuel, recall. 3. Start small. Even if you only do 2 out of the 5 steps for the first week, you're on your way. Build gradually. 4. Use an accountability partner. Invite a friend or family member to join you remotely or in person. 5. Be forgiving. Miss a day. It's okay. Begin again tomorrow. The body responds to patterns, not perfection. I have a personal word to you. As someone who's worked in aging and preventive medicine for over 3 decades, I can tell you this. The most inspiring people I've met weren't those who never got sick. They were the ones who refused to let age define what was possible. The ones who stayed curious, who tried something new no matter how small, who took control of the few minutes they had instead of worrying about the hours they didn't. You're already one of those people because you're here, learning, listening, choosing. That matters more than you know. And it tells me you're not just aging, you're actively aging. Bedinding men, let's age with strength, not fear. So here's your challenge tomorrow morning before the noise of the world enters your home. Before the TV goes on, before the phone lights up, give yourself the gift of intention. Start with one of these habits. Hydrate. Move gently. Eat to rebuild. Lubricate your joints. Recall your memories. Then smile, because you've already done more for your body and mind than most people will all day. And day by day, these little choices add up. They become strength. They become clarity. They become resilience. They become you thriving. Before you go, A message from our team. If this video gave you clarity or encouragement, please hit like. It tells YouTube to show this to other seniors who need it. Subscribe for more insights designed specifically for older adults. We're building a community of strength, not fear. Share this with someone you love. Because most of us know someone over 65 who could benefit from just 5 better minutes each morning. And finally, we want to hear from you. Leave a comment below. What's your first habit after waking up? Or, which of these 5 do you plan to try tomorrow? You may inspire someone else just by speaking up. Final reminder. You are not fragile. You are not fading. You are evolving. And every morning you choose to live with clarity, strength, and purpose is a morning worth celebrating. Thank you for watching. Thank you for showing up for yourself. And until next time, stay strong, stay steady, stay you.